The Idaho, the New Mexico, and the Lexington, with their escort group, have met the transports for the naval invasion. At night, it turns out the Japanese have potentially gotten some intelligence that this is happening. Maybe from the local garrison, maybe from some scout planes, but they have decided to send a strike group, excluding the battle cruiser, excluding the battleship, but sending 2 battle cruisers, as well as a massive light cruiser force out of their remaining screens, to try and disrupt the invasion of their outer defense ring. We will see if this time they will actually be committing their heavy forces, or if they are once again going to withdraw them. And this is the first time that the Lexington, which is a designated cruiser killer, is going to be engaged in battle, and we will see how that ends up. Okay, we've got the Lexington, which is a very fast-moving ship, actually going with the destroyer screen to take on the enemy cruisers, while we have New Mexico in the lead, followed by Idaho, making the main battle line and trying to get their guns on from the rear. We have spotted the enemy battle cruisers. It's the known configuration. They outgun us, but so far their armor hasn't quite held up. While they do hold the firepower, we've been able to relatively easily damage these ships. So we'll see how that ends up. One of New Mexico's turrets, or one of New Mexico's shells, has managed to hit the rear battle cruiser and has triggered an ammunition detonation. And I think that ship is doomed. Her whole rear magazines have blown up. And again, the Japanese capital ships are very heavily armed, but their armor is much lacking, especially when it comes to plunging fire. I think she's done for. Yep, she's sinking, confirmed. So that's 1 battle cruiser down, which leaves this most of the light forces, really. So the destroyers are going in, trying to get a lead on it. But that's a good start. I'll take that any day. We'll close in and then try to finish off the other one. But this battle cruiser is sinking after a catastrophic ammunition detonation at the rear turret from a plunging hit from, I think it was New Mexico's 14-inchers. Okay, we have spotted the heavy cruiser. These things are relatively dangerous in terms of torpedoes. So Lexington, that's your target. She is unfortunately a little out of range because I wanted her to be actually sailing around, but we'll target the heavy cruiser. And we will get the destroyers to get their torpedoes ready once they have angles and go for the battle cruiser. I'll get them to smoke up for now, and Lexington can come in and try and take on that heavy cruiser, while the main battle line is a little bit further behind. But we've also got the destroyers on the other side. I was not necessarily planning on using their torpedoes against the heavy cruiser, but it might be worth doing that. So let's smoke up here as well, and get a torpedo solution against the heavy cruiser, while we are sailing in from the other side with the Lexington. What's the distance from Lexington? That's 8 kilometers. Shouldn't be too bad. I'm not sure about HE shells though, but we'll see. She is turning away now, so let's get the torpedoes away from Woolsey and Phelps, and then we'll get the destroyers to get out of there. The second destroyer group, I think, is still too far away to targeting the. Oh no, they've launched their torpedoes. So let's get the other torpedoes away as well. Oh, we've got some 14-inch hits on the heavy cruisers. I think that was the battle group. So Lexington hasn't even managed to get into range yet, or into effective range. But I think she's taken some fire. There come the torpedoes from Phelps, against Phelps and Woolsey. That's okay. We'll just get them to turn around and then start targeting the main group again. Lexington too far away, but fast, and the main battle group following behind. I got a couple of hits in on the heavy cruiser, but she is disengaging at this point, so we'll let her return. She's wasted her torpedoes on the destroyer, who have been easily able to evade those. So let's get the destroyers back on course and see that we can manage to close in on the enemy battle group. Okay, Power and Wicks have launched their torpedoes, and we do have to be a little careful that we're not overextending Lexington. But I do want to take on the enemy cruisers if we can, and we'll obviously have to wait for the slow movers to get into position. But we'll see. I'm curious to see what Lexington is going to be capable of when it comes to chasing down those light cruisers. Can't remember how many guns I actually put on that thing. It looks like 12 guns. So if she can get herself in range, that should actually be. And she has torpedoes as well, so she's launched her own torpedoes. Why are we firing high explosive at light cruisers? Not so certain about that. Well, let's get Lexington a little closer. And while the slow movers are going to try and catch up, the destroyers. Where's that Azuma class going? Azuma is taking on someone else, but Woolsey still has torpedoes ready if she needs to. Oh, we'll get the destroyers a little closer to keep the enemy group spotted. And I haven't been lucky with any torpedo hits. But that is the enemy battle cruiser, so not actually something that Lexington necessarily wants to take on. I might have to turn out a little bit here, and her guns are not quite as effective. No, I want her to take on the light cruisers if you can, please. So let's get the guns turned and attack these light cruisers. Might have to get Lexington a little closer. Main battle line is still behind. Destroyers are not quite in the position where I would want them to be. Incoming torpedoes. Let's try to avoid those. We've landed a torpedo hit somewhere, but right now I think I do need to pay attention to Lexington here. So because she is taking a lot of HE fire from the enemy cruisers, but she is fast, and I would like her to be actually able to take out some of them before she needs to disengage. I think she is. Yeah, she's starting to hit actually with the 4-inchers, but she should have the range now with the main guns. Enemy cruisers in smoke. I want her to finish off the cruisers if possible, so we'll get her in a little bit closer. Destroyers have evaded the enemy torpedoes. Let's target the Azuma again with the destroyers, and they are getting a little far away. Wicks and Power need to turn around as well. Okay, Lexington has taken a torpedo. That's not what I wanted, and that's what I get for not paying any attention. I think the other torpedo she's relatively safe from, but that was one. Oh, that's a lot of incoming torpedoes. Yeah, Lexington needs to turn in and avoid more of these incoming torpedoes. She should be able to get the flooding under control, hopefully. It's a very old battle cruiser, but we will see how that goes. I do want to get a little closer and try to take down some of these cruisers. She is taking on a lot of water. And the New Mexico and the Idaho are a little far behind. That destroyer line, okay, Wicks and Power are on this side. These destroyers need to turn around and see if they can get some shots off. But Lexington is taking on a lot of water now. I think Lexington has to disengage after that torpedo hit. She has not managed to... Yeah, she's lost rudder control. I think that torpedo hit has caused way more damage than I was initially expecting. So we're going to have to get her to retreat and retire from battle for now. Yeah, she's lost rudder control. She's taken a torpedo in the stern. Her secondaries are doing a decent job here, but the main guns, not so sure about that. I was expecting more from her main guns, so maybe she can still land a hit or two, but I think she might need to disengage here. So we'll get her to sail away and try to do some more damage. But yeah, no, she's taking on too much water for my taste here, and I don't necessarily. I mean, as much as I think she's not the most useful ship because she can't hit anything, I also don't necessarily want to lose her. So we're going to retreat Lexington. So Lexington's little foray was not successful, but the Warusawa is in bad shape. I'm not sure what she's taken fire from. She's been pretty badly hit. So destroyers. Let's see if they can get their torpedoes reloaded. Have we managed to do anything about the Azuma? Not really. Woolsey and Phelps are still struggling to do anything. And I think no, that's the Notoro. She's still sinking. Where's the other one? Here. The Warusawa, however, does look bad. So I think she might have taken a lot more damage while I wasn't looking. While I was worrying about Lexington. See if we can... Lexington seems to have the flooding under control. If she can get the rudder repaired, we might drop speed to 25 knots and see if she can still do something with her guns and take on these light cruisers there. But we'll definitely get her a little bit further away from the action while getting everybody back into it. Destroyers turn around again. And the main line, yeah, the big problem with the standard type battleships is that they are very, very slow. That said, they are absolutely capable of shredding enemy battle cruisers. And I think the Warusawa is about to sink, so that's the second heavy down. Yep, she sinks due to heavy flooding. So we do have to finish off the. Let's finish off the Azuma. That's the most dangerous of the remaining targets. And we get the destroyers to focus on her as well. How's the Lexington doing? Lexington is doing okay actually. Just the damage to the rudder is irritating. But we will, well, not the destroyer, but she can try to finish off one of these cruisers here. I would like her to be a little bit more effective in that, if possible. But if not, then Idaho and New Mexico are going to be able to finish them off as well. Wicks actually should have torpedoes ready. So let's try to... where's a good group of... to target. Let's target there. Let's get the torpedoes ready if we can and launch their torpedo spreads. Woolsey and Phelps can go back to launching torpedoes as well, just into the general direction of the group. Although I'm not sure if Phelps is actually... Yeah, Phelps is reloaded as well. So we'll get them in a little closer. And Lexington is slowly managing to turn about, but due to the flooding and the rudder damage that she's taken from whatever hit, I think from the torpedo hit that she took there, she is not in the best shape. Okay, New Mexico and Idaho. Please focus on the Azuma and see if you can get that thing destroyed, because that's a dangerous heavy cruiser. And the destroyers can turn about, get the torpedoes away from the other side, and then withdraw for now. Lexington is unfortunately turning in circles, so given her rudder damage, she is not in the best position to do anything. But that means we'll have to rely on the heavy ships to make this happen. Okay, the destroyers have sent their torpedoes out. Lexington has managed to turn herself around, so I think I'm just gonna sail her generally in a straight line, because that's the only thing she's really capable of at this point. And we'll get Woolsey and Phelps around as well to make sure that they can launch torpedoes from the other side. I think the Azuma, I think that's the lead ship of her class actually. Azuma is not in the greatest shape. And I'm going to get New Mexico and Idaho a little closer, and we'll see if they can manage to catch up with some of these light cruisers. The problem is I was really banking on Lexington to do that, because she is the fastest ship here. But she has taken that unfortunate single torpedo. So she's struggling with her rudder. Well, we'll see if we can manage to nudge her into a position where she can be effective. Destroyers have launched their torpedoes. Let's get them to turn around. Okay, the Azuma is done for. And that leaves New Mexico and Idaho to try and clean up the rest of these cruisers. I don't want them to get away if possible, because any kind of cruiser that gets away might endanger our transports. So we'll give chase and do what we can. Okay, we've got a torpedo hit somewhere at an enemy destroyer. I'm not sure if that was Lexington, but good job, Lexington. Okay, Lexington is sailing on an intercept course of sorts, but we do have to be careful to not have her actually collide with the main battle line. So I might have to actually adjust course there. Get Lexington to turn out a bit. Lexington isn't turning too well. So let's turn the battleships around and make sure that we're not colliding with our damaged battle cruiser here, because her rudder control is minimal. And I think the Uberry is going to go down. She is taking a lot of fire from the secondaries, from the main group. I've got two more destroyers here reloading their torpedoes, and we'll get them in and see that they can scout out the rest of the cruisers that are hanging out over there. Okay, I think we've avoided a collision, so let's get New Mexico and Idaho back on course, while the Lexington is still sailing around rather aimlessly. Uberry is done for. Let's see if we can catch up with the rest of them. She might still be faster than those. I'm not sure how fast these light cruisers are. These things we haven't identified them, so I don't know exactly how fast they are. I know that the Azuma is gone, so that's not so much of an issue. Okay, so let's get everybody back on track. Try not to hit things. Where are my destroyers? Here. And the destroyers are chasing down the enemy light forces. I would like this to be a decisive defeat for the Japanese forces for once. We've got Woolsey and Phelps. Phelps is out of torpedoes. Woolsey is still reloading, so we do need to be a little careful here. Lexington is coming into position to deal with these light cruisers, and I think the battleships are slowly, after that little maneuver, getting into position again as well. Oh, I think there's another torpedo. Ooh, I'm not sure Lexington is going to have a chance to avoid that. No, she's not going to have a chance to avoid that. So that, come on, turn. Nope, 2 torpedo hits. 1 torpedo hit and a dud. But that has caused a flood in the forward compartment, and I think that is the end of the battle for Lexington. I think I'm going to have to get her to retreat. Yeah, she's taken another torpedo, and Lexington doesn't deal very well with torpedoes. So we are going to have to get Lexington to retreat, unfortunately, while the rest of the fleet is trying to mop up the enemy forces. We've got Woolsey and Phelps battling it out with the Isuzu. Woolsey is still reloading torpedoes, and we've got the other destroyer group chasing down. Well, they will have to try and help out Lexington here, because I'm not sure Lexington is in a good shape to retreat. We will see. They might have... Oh, they've gotten the flooding under control, however. So maybe she can still fight. Take on the Kasagi, please. They've gotten the flooding under control, patched up the holes, and she's still in this fight. But we'll get the destroyers in as well, trying to help out with that light. Oh, enemy destroyer spotted. Priority target. That might have torpedoes away, so it snuck up on us here. So we're going to get Power and Wicks to turn around, actually, just in case she has launched torpedoes, and chase down this destroyer and try to finish her off with guns. Lexington is steady, damaged but steady. The flooding's under control in the forward compartment, and the battleships are sort of sailing in the other direction. There's still a lot of cruiser forces out there, just want to get all their secondaries on target, and the other destroyer group can help here. But I think Lexington's secondaries are actually more effective. How are my destroyers doing against the Oboro? I think they are chasing her down, so that's good. Let's make that happen. Lexington might be able to get in some hits with the armor piercing from her main guns, to be honest. We'll just let her sail in a straight line, because everything else is going to throw her gunnery off too much. The screens have chased the Oboro away and are gunning her down. Yep, Oboro is done. I think I'm gonna get the... where is she going? Okay, disengaging, so we should be okay. Lexington has taken some damage, and she is flooding again. I think I was trying to avoid these torpedoes, but I think she is not in the shape anymore to fight. Yeah, the forward compartments are now flooding. The damage repair hasn't held, and she is listing too much that she can't get her guns to bear anymore. So Lexington does need to get out of here, and I am not sure we can actually save her. The torpedo defenses of the Lexington are just too bad. Oh, another torpedo against the battleships. That is not so good. Can't avoid that, but the New Mexico should be able to handle that without too much problems. Destroyers are returning, the destroyers were returning, trying to assist with the battleships with torpedo spotting. But Lexington is in dire shape, and I think Lexington is going to be lost here due to just being too vulnerable to torpedo impacts and not being effective with her main guns. So yeah, Lexington is unfortunately sinking. That, I think, is the first loss in this campaign, to be honest. So even though the destroyers have chased down pretty much all the enemy all the enemy destroyers and done what they could, really, finishing them off. The Lexington has taken, I think, 3 torpedo hits, and that was enough to get her to take on too much water that the Lexington is unfortunately sinking. Well, there goes the era of the battle cruiser, I would say. Some torpedoes, some incoming torpedoes, but I think we're safe here with the Wicks should be safe. Battleships, yeah, New Mexico has shrugged off the torpedo hits from. Woolsey is taking some fire now as well from the light cruisers. Yeah, Woolsey has taken quite some fire and seems to be having trouble. Okay, I think Woolsey is done as well. We'll get them to detach, and Woolsey needs to retreat. Okay, Wicks and Power out of torpedoes are chasing down the enemy destroyers, and the battle group. I'm gonna get Phelps just on screening duty while Woolsey is disengaging. The battle group is dealing with the enemy light cruisers here, but they are not in the best position. And they are running a little low on HE shells. No, that's the Phelps actually. So let's get everything sorted here. Avoid the torpedoes and help the Woolsey escape. And I think the Wicks is gonna be winning that gun duel. So chase down the other destroyer. I think the Tsuta is gonna be about done. Yeah, Tsuta is done. So target the Asakaze, and the main battle line is still duking it out with the enemy light cruisers. And we do have the Phelps on screening duty at this point, but that is a little close for comfort. But hopefully they can just blow them out of the water with the main guns. It's mostly over penetrations. Yeah, there are torpedoes, and I'm not sure we can avoid these. We'll try, but we'll see if we can steer into those torpedoes. Getting the Idaho to turn. Might as well might avoid one at least. I'm not sure with the second one. And okay, it was a dud. Okay, all good. Straighten her out again. And New Mexico is safe. She's a little bit further behind. But yeah, the Idaho is well and truly in a brawl now. With a group of enemy light cruisers. So we'll get her to turn back online and take on the Agano next, while the destroyers are. Oh, Woolsey has sunk. That is unfortunate due to flooding, so she hasn't managed to get out. The losses are mounting, but we have to take the engagement. And even though we are under strength, I think we're still given better than we've taken. More torpedoes coming in. Idaho is going to have to turn around to get target the Oyodo. That's the bigger threat. And the secondaries can make themselves useful on either side. I think the torpedoes have missed, and the battleships are still in good shape. So, Destroyer and the Lexington lost at this point. Have you finished off? They have finished off the Asakaze. So let's get you back and help with the light cruisers, while we are focusing them down with Idaho and New Mexico. Comes another torpedo spread, but I think Idaho is going to be able to avoid that. and if she can get her guns on target at this range at the light cruiser, she should be able to do some significant amount of damage. I'm not sure if these things still have torpedoes ready. I think they do. Lots of torpedoes in the water. So far the battleships have gotten away pretty well unscathed, and I want to see that. I want to see the Yoyodo down if possible. Main guns are aimed. We'll just have to get them reloaded, and then hopefully a full broadside, and we'll finish that thing off if possible. These armored cruisers are surprisingly resilient. She is taking 14-inch hits left, right and center. The battle cruisers blow up with one hit, but these old armored cruisers are actually quite sturdy. But I think that was it for the Mogami, and that means yes, Mogami has sunk, so let's get the battle group turned around, and we'll take on the rest of the light cruisers. The destroyers are all out of torpedoes, so I'm just going to get them on screening duty, and we'll see how many get away. But I think we've got most of them. I just have to turn the big ships around and get the guns on target. After a fierce battle, the determined Japanese assault on the landing sites in the Marshall Islands has been repelled. We have lost the USS Lexington. We have had both New Mexico and Idaho have been damaged, and we've lost the Woolsey as well. But the Japanese have lost both of their battle cruisers, the last of the Azumas. They've lost 11 of the armored cruisers, and 3 destroyers. Only 2 damaged light cruisers have managed to retreat from the battle. All in all, when it comes to doing damage, Idaho, New Mexico, Wicks and Power are leading the group, whereas Lexington has, well, we don't want to talk bad about the deceased, but has been a disappointing battle performance of this ship. That said, for obvious reasons, she will be missed, and her crew will be remembered for their bravery in the defense of the transports near the Marshall Islands. But I think it is fair to say, with this result, that the era of the battle cruiser is probably well and truly over, and more modern battleships and more powerful cruisers and destroyers are going to be needed. Despite the loss of the Lexington, the naval invasion is proceeding near the Marshall Islands. After emergency repairs, both battleships are getting ready for their shore bombardment duties. Unfortunately, we will be missing the guns from the Lexington, and in order to assist with that, we're sending the Pennsylvania, the San Francisco and the Farragut over to assist. They will be still arriving, I think, while the invasion's ongoing, and hopefully that their gun support is going to be enough to make it happen.